Right then, Premier League action is back. New season, loads to be excited for. Fresh start, and we are facing an instant tough game, a real roadblock on the start of our campaign. United versus Arsenal. It's a game with history. And United actually haven't been anywhere close to Arsenal in the league in recent years, but generally been quite competitive when it comes to head-to-head, and I'm hoping this game is no different. Whether you think it's realistic or not, both teams should have top four aspirations, and you would expect both to want to start strong. Personally, I think it's probably a little bit too soon for United, but an opening win against Arsenal, could really springboard us towards a really good season. Last year saw Arsenal push hard again for a title, but ultimately fall short, finishing as runners-up, while United endured the worst season that we've had in the Premier League era, finishing, well, 15th. We did have injuries, we did have a managerial change, which saw Erik Ten Hag fired and Ruben Amorim brought in. It's been a transformative summer for both clubs. Both seem reasonably happy with the business that they have done. Arsenal have added some firepower with Victor Gyokeres. They've upgraded their midfield with Zubamendi and Norgard, and their squad has been revamped with the likes of Madueke, Mosquera, and Kepa also brought in. United, meanwhile, have focused rebuild on the attack. Signed Benjamin Sesko, who it might be a bit soon for to be expecting him to hit the ground running, but also Mateus Cunha and Brian and Bruno completely overhauling our offensive line. There's quite a few interesting narratives coming into this game. You're going to have Gyokeres versus Sesko pitched against each other. You're going to have whether Ahmad and Mbumo can work together down that right-hand side. What midfield are you going to see United line up with? Tactically, people are going to expect United to probably counter-press and exploit on the transitions. Arsenal are going to be expected to hold the ball and maybe probe United's defence a little bit. It's going to be interesting. Arsenal will be the favourites, but is it going to play out that way? Premier League is back and everybody is excited. New signings, fresh kits, match predictions, league predictions, but there's something else that is kicking off right now, and that is not good. This summer alone, the UK has seen a spike in data breaches, in phishing scams, and dodgy websites designed to steal your info. And it's not just companies getting hacked, it's everyday people entering personal details into unsafe sites without realizing. And that is why I use Surfshark's VPN, today's sponsor. It's simple. Surfshark encrypts everything you need to send online. It hides your location. It keeps snoopers, hackers, scammers, and even your internet provider from getting hold of your personal data. And it's not just security. With Surfshark, you can connect as if you're anywhere in the world. That means streaming football from abroad. That means accessing region-locked sites or catching games that aren't on UK TV. Here's what you're going to get. Unlimited devices on one account. That is phone, laptop, smart TV, tablet, whatever it is. Clean web to block ads, malware, and trackers. No borders mode to stay connected, even in countries with heavy restrictions. Right now, you can get an extra 4 months for free on your subscription if you head to surfshark.com/Howson or use the code HOWSON, that's Howson, HOWSON, at checkout. It's Premier League season. Do not start it with your data at risk. Browse safely, watch freely, and protect yourself with Surfshark. Now, Arsenal, how do they play? Now, this probably is going to change. What they normally do is line up in a 4-3-3. Often looks very much like a 4-2-3-1. In possession, that can look like a 3-2-5, occasionally even look like a 2-3-5. One of the fullbacks, usually Lewis Skelly, occasionally Calafiore, invert into midfield to add to an extra player to the double pivot. What has been in the past Thomas Partey now is likely to be Zubamendi. Typically, that's allowed Declan Rice when it's been Thomas Partey to play a more advanced box-to-box role while still contributing offensively and defensively. Arsenal's build-up will have evolved with the addition of Zubamendi. He's going to bring composure. He's going to bring progression. Last season, they often used a 4-2 base to build it up with, inverting fullbacks. That's probably going to have been tweaked. They're going to want to go a bit more fluid with that. Zubamendi anchoring that, hopefully, for them at least, if not for United, sees them move the ball a little bit smoother through the thirds. Arsenal rely heavy on the inside channel combinations. The likes of Martin Odegaard will drift wide to create overloads. On the right, you'll see him linking up with Saka and Timber. I would expect Gyokeres adding some lethal goal-scoring threat, addressing what every Arsenal fan thought was an issue in the final third. But I think he's fundamentally going to change the way that they play. The likes of Martinelli and Madueke are going to be looking to play 1v1 and be a threat dribbling on the left-hand side. Martinelli's got a tendency to cut inside, which can occasionally congest those central areas. Defensively, Arsenal had the Premier League's best defence. They only conceded 34 goals. A lot of people put that down to the likes of Gabriel and Saliba. I also think Thomas Partey had a big hand in that, to be honest with you. Raya's shot stopping has to be included in that. And they've been sensational when it comes to set plays. That was evident again in their pre-season games against AC Milan, Newcastle, Tottenham and Villarreal. One potential weakness is the over-reliance on the inside channel and lack of central penetration. What Arsenal excelled at last season, I thought, was going direct to Havertz. They won't want to hear that they're a long ball team, but they're a long ball team. And going direct to Havertz and his ability to hold the ball up, and Havertz's ability to get 25, 30 touches on the ball meant that Arsenal almost played with a false nine for the entire season. But it was a false nine target man. It was a very unique role that Havertz was asked to play. And even though you didn't get the pure goal-scoring threat from him, I thought he was a massive... What's the word I'm looking for here? A sort of massive plus into how they played. I thought he allowed a lot of Arsenal's play. And I think changing that and going with Victor Gyokeres, who is more of not lazy is not the word, but sort of like disconnected sort of striker that's going to be expected to finish chances more than he's going to be involved in the build-up play, might change the way that they hold the ball, might change the way that they progress the ball, and might change how good Arsenal are at doing those things. Star man for Arsenal, it's Saka. I think he's very impactful to the way that they play. He adds a bit of flair to their final third. He had a bit of a hamstring injury which derailed his last season, but he still contributed plenty of goal involvements. He's had a positive pre-season, and I think he'll be one to watch. And certainly if you can keep him quiet, it'd be very interesting to see how him and Dorgu match up against each other. You could do well. Team-wise, what I would go with is... I would go with Tom Heaton. I'm not really convinced with Bayern, and we obviously haven't seen anything of Onana in pre-season. So I would go with Tom Heaton in net. I would go with a back three of Yoro, De Ligt and Luke Shaw. I think De Ligt, for how combative he is, absolutely required. Yoro has looked fantastic in pre-season, and I think Luke Shaw looks the most ready out of the rest of the defenders. I go with a midfield four of Ahmad, Ugarte for the defensive work, Casemiro for the set play work, and Dorgu. And I go with Bruno and Cunha behind Sesko. I could even make a case for Bruno and Mbeumo behind Sesko, but I think it'd be Bruno and Cunha to start. And I think United, I know I've spoke about Mbeumo there. Mbeumo is the first sub, and it's either at half-time, giving 45, or on the 60th minute. And I don't know who for. Depends on how the game's gone. But I would expect United to try and hit them on the counter with that. I think Cunha's just more ready. He's obviously played more in pre-season. He's been around the team since the 1st of June. Cunha was signed just prior to going on... Mbeumo was just signed prior to going on the tour, so he's not quite ready. And you're sitting there going, hang on, but you've got Sesko starting. Yeah. I think United need a focal point. I think that was very clear on the tour that without a striker, United look toothless. So I think you risk it in this instance, but you don't risk Mbeumo. That's the team that I expect. That's the team I want to go for. And I think that's the team that I think can go on and get the job done against Arsenal. United can combat a lot of the way they play by defending narrow. I would expect United to play quite a lot with a back five against Arsenal. It might look like a 5-2-3, 5-3-2. Low block, a little bit like we did back in March, forcing Arsenal to rely on those low percentage shots or crossing from deep. I would expect Casemiro to be involved because we're going to need him on the set plays. because Arsenal are going to be an absolute nightmare on that. Arsenal, I think, will gamble and they'll push the likes of Lewis Skelly very far forward, and that is where United's ability to counter will be big. And I think the likes of Mbeumo and Sesko will be absolutely critical. They expect United to do bits on the counter against Arsenal. They play a very, very high line. They have very aggressive fullback positioning, and they leave gaps in transition. The speed of Sesko and Mbeumo will stretch Arsenal's back line if United can get Bruno Fernandes and actually Casemiro onto the ball early and put a ball in behind to run onto. United can pack the penalty box, spring out, and hurt Arsenal on the counter. That's the way we're going to win this game. That is the way we're going to beat them. You know, you're going to low block, we're going to hit them on the counter, and we're going to frustrate. That's how we're going to do it, if we are going to do it. Personally think that a draw is on the cards. And I don't really like saying that very often, but I think this game just comes a little bit too early for United. But that's how I see the game going. I do think a draw is on the cards. Let me know in the comments how you expect this one to go, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.